What's going on, guys? K-Pine here and welcome back. And in this video, I'll be featuring a double ice strategy in the Open Great League with Shadow Walrein and regular Alolan Sandslash. Yes, the regular A-Slash is preferred with this team due to it having better matchups against opposing Clodsire, Dunsparce, and Dugong, as well as the fast move of Powder Snow over Shadow Claw. This will help with grounds, normals, and flyers you'll see. I paired those two up with a Malamar Lead simply because it's just really good. And if you've noticed, this team is very similar to a previous team I've run this season, but I feel like the A-Slash in the back gives it a bit more flexibility. And with that, let's get right into the battles. Alright, getting to the first battle, we lead Malamar into Shadow Kanto Marowak. Now this is a positive lead for the Malamar, as depending on how you play it out, you do have the potential to win all even shielding scenarios. So we will play out the zeros here, let the first Bone Club go, overfarm a little bit, throw the foul play on good timing. Now, you do only win the zero shield scenario if you go for straight superpower in this, like you load up to two, throw two back-to-back superpowers. But in this situation, if my opponent gives up one shield like they do to the foul play, like you let their Bone Club go, they give up a shield to the foul play, you'll just overfarm and you'll reach another foul play before they farm you down, which you saw here. So they'll be forced to throw their second Bone Club. And if they do throw their second Bone Club, then you just come in with your Shadow Walrein and you get a very nice Powder Snow down. Now in this situation, we end up getting both shields from that Kanto Marowak. So we swap to our Walrein, they bring in a Toxapex, we're able to land that Earthquake for massive damage. We correctly shield their Sludge Wave, so now we can overfarm a ton, play to the CMP tie of what would be their Brine, go for the Icicle Spear to take them out. In the back, they have a Dugong, and this is going to be a close match, but it's looking slightly in our favor. Again, we are running that regular A-Slash to help with this matchup as well, because we definitely do more comfortably survive a Drill Run with the regular versus the Shadow. But we get the prediction correct right there. We swap, we catch that Drill Run, overfarm with our Walrein, watch for their catch, which they try and go for. We land the Icicle Spear, and we could overfarm even more and get to the Earthquake, where we don't even need that Alolan Sandslash. Walrein put on an absolute show right there, and we're able to take that one. GG's. Next battle, we lead Malamar into Shadow Dragonite. Two better answers for this in the back, so we are going to immediately pivot into the Shadow Walrein, and they bring in a Shadow Alolan Sandslash. Now, this Alolan Sandslash, sorry, regular Alolan Sandslash. If this A-Slash is on Shadow Claw, it's a good matchup for the A-Slash, but if they're on Powder Snow, it's a fantastic matchup for the Walrein, because one Drill Run doesn't KO, but let me tell you, one Earthquake will most definitely KO them. So we can tank that Drill Run, and we're never going to be in range of being farmed down. So we just go for Earthquakes. And you know, if you're feeling a little spicy, you could go for the Icicle Spear bait, but it's just so risky, because if your opponent calls it, then you just turn what's in a really advantageous situation for you instantly into a poor matchup. So the safer play is definitely just to go for straight Earthquake there. I pivot into my Malamar after you get both shields from them, so I can land a superpower and take out the A-Slash. But my opponent recognizes that, so they then pivot into their own Superior. Superior has to go for the Frenzy to KO here. They don't, they only go for the Ace. So we survive that, get to a superpower to do some very nice chip damage on the Superior, instantly swap into our A-Slash to get the farm down. And now, as long as I'm patient with my energy, this matchup is over, because we have the Ice Punch for the Dragonite and the Drill Run for their own A-Slash. They don't catch, we're able to land that Ice Punch, down goes the D-Knight, and now in comes their A-Slash, which will go down to a single Drill Run, so my opponent concedes. GG's. Next battle, we lead Malamar into Ariados. Poor matchup for the Malamar if shields are down or in the one shield scenario, since they do have access to Lunge, and that's double super effective damage to essentially one-shot the Malamar. However, in the two shield scenario, which this is, it's a positive matchup for the Malamar because of that Psywave damage that gets to be applied to the Ariados. So we will shield up the first lunge, fire off a foul play, shield off the second lunge, fire off a foul play before they reach lunge number 3. And my opponent makes a very nice catch right here onto their own Malamar. They caught me lacking. Just got to be a little bit more conscious next time to watch out for something like that happening. So I'll land that foul play, then go for the Icicle Spear right away. I want to take advantage of getting to this Icicle Spear before they fire off a superpower, which we do. And thankfully we get a shield. So now we can fire off the next Icicle Spear. My opponent makes a very nice overfarm to that CMP tie. And if we survive that superpower, we'll get off that spear, but we don't. So now I'm just going to stay in this matchup, overfarm a lot here. If that Ariados comes in, I want the energy to threaten it, which it does. But I over tap a Psy Wave, let them to get that one more Poison Sting, and now down goes my Malamar with all that energy. So it's now going to come down to what they have in the back with my A-Slash. Now they come back in Malamar, which is a very nice sign here, because we're going to outpace to this Ice Punch, which will take out the Malamar, and see what that third Pokemon is. It's a Guzzlord. So fortunately, despite that little mistake, A-Slash does have that advantageous matchup in the back, and my opponent concedes. GG's. Next battle, Malamar Mirror Match. We're going to overfarm here, just in case they want to swap out and try and make a catch right away. Doesn't necessarily matter, but you want to go for a foul play, and then you want to go for a superpower right away. If your Malamar wins the CMP tie, you either force the shield from them, or you bring them extremely low, to then what you let your own Malamar go down and get farm on the Walrein. And in this instance, they don't throw right away. So I'm going to land that superpower, then swap into my own Walrein here. I will have to give up a shield, but we want that Powder Snow lead, as well as it saves my Malamar with a decent amount of health for later. But if you lose that CMP tie, you're going to let their superpower go, as you will survive that superpower, and then you get off your own, which forces that shield from them or takes them out and gives you switch, to which case I then recommend pivoting into your Walrein regardless, instead of letting your Malamar go down, to save that Malamar for, yet again, another potential catch later in the game. Now here they have a Shadow Drapion. We tank that crunch, and we're able to land an Icicle Spear of our own, which gets them pretty low. So now I can bring in my A-Slash to farm it down. I maybe potentially could have brought in my Malamar, but it does not matter as they have a Clodsire in the back, and yet again, A-Slash is able to cause them to top left. GG's. Next battle, regular Marowak Lead. Now this matchup against the non-Shadow variant is actually better for the non-Shadow against Malamar than the Shadow version against Malamar. So same thing, fire off a foul play after 14 Psy Waves for good timing. That will land, then we can let this go. And they will reach 2 Bone Clubs here before I'm able to reach move, which they had right there. The back-to-back, I will shield it up because that Bone Club will be enough to KO. And I want to store all that energy onto my Malamar. So I bank a foul play or a superpower, pivot into my Walrein to lure out maybe, like a rock type or something like that, which we get a semi-rock type in a rollout user with Licky. But most importantly, we save all that energy on our Malamar to use later in the game, which looks like it's going to be right now. So we load up on tons of energy. We're going to go for the foul play. We don't want to debuff ourselves yet, because we don't want to threaten them getting a farm down without using too much energy. And then in the back, they have a Drifblim, and this could be a very close matchup. This will guarantee the shield. Now I'm able to swap into my A-Slash. They pivot into their Kanto Marowak and reach a Bone Club, which will force my final shield, but I get a nice farm down here. So now we're just going to make sure we're throwing on good timing here. 1 Powder Snow and then the move. This will get their final shield. But no, my opponent lets it go, recognizing they do need to survive 1 Ice Punch. And all that lets me do is commit to fast moves here. So we get the Drifblim extremely low. Shadow Ball takes us out. Malamar, it's a tie as the Astonish takes us out the same time the Psy Waves take them out. GG's. Next battle, Malamar into Diggersby. They may think I would swap out into my Walrein right here because I do have 2 ice types in the back, but A-Slash isn't necessarily the best check to a Diggersby just because they have access to double super effective Fire Punch and super effective Scorching Sands. So instead, we're going to stay in this matchup, tank a move, land that foul play. We go for the foul play bait. We don't want to debuff ourselves yet, hoping that they'll shield it so then we can land that superpower later, but they let it go, and that's fine. So now we can go for that superpower to land big damage on the Diggersby and then swap into our Walrein to catch the Fire Punch that they're trying to take advantage of with my debuff defense. That baits out a Toxapex, and 2 shields are up. You saw how much that Shadow Earthquake did previously. We're playing it risky. We're going for an Icicle Spear bait. That bait is successful. And now here, I was thinking about letting this go, going, okay, we survive a brine from here. So it forces them to go for a Sludge Wave. And I'm thinking, you know what? They probably recognize that. They're going to full send the Sludge Wave. So I give up my shield. It ends up being a good shield call. And then we go for another Icicle Spear bait, which pays off. And you know what? I'm going to double shield at this point because I know that I have the Earthquake banked here. Risky double baits pays off, and we get to land that Earthquake into the Malamar. We pivot out instantly to get an energy lead on the Malamar. They don't let that happen. They swap into their Shadow Gator. We land that superpower, and honestly, that might have been a little bit of a misplay there. I should have waited to throw the superpower at the very last second I possibly could before they Shadow Clawed me down in order to maximize the Psywave damage. So as you'll see here, we can survive 1 Hydro, but we can't survive 2. And that little sliver of HP on the Gator may have been in non-debuff Psywave range, but we'll never know as down goes the Walrus and my opponent takes that one. GG's. Next battle, Mandibuzz Lead. 2 answers for this in the back. We are going to pivot into our Walrein. They meet it with a Shadow Fortress, and boy, oh boy, this matchup could not be going any worse at the moment. We make it to an Earthquake. We bait with the Icicle Spear. We get the shield. And now my opponent's forced to go for their heavy hitting move of the Earthquake or Rock Tomb if they have it, as Mirror Shot will not KO. So if they go for the Mirror Shot, then we will be able to reach an Earthquake. But they're running Rock Tomb, which I would assume they're on Rock Tomb Earthquake then. And we come in with our Malamar. We played a little bit of a risky CMP tie right here, but I was expecting them to throw it away. As they go for their next move. Foul Play does a lot of damage, doesn't take him out. It is the Earthquake. And now I can bring in my Malamar, get a very nice Psywave down to leave with a Superpower or a Foul Play stored. Pivot into our A/, and here my opponent staying in this matchup, which is fantastic news, especially considering it's Air / Mandibuzz. We are up 2 shields to 1. I give up a shield there. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is only 5 Air Slashes, so it's not a Dark Pulse. I could be wrong, or maybe they're running Foul Play instead of Dark Pulse. So I give up a shield. It ends up being an Aerial Ace, so it's just a very poor shield. And then add insult to injury, the Mandibuzz survives that Ice Punch on 1 HP, where in the back, I do give up my last shield to respect that Dark Pulse, just in case there's something with Fast Food Pressure in the back, and it ends up being a Shadow Magnezone. And you'll see here, I go for that Drill Run, and then my opponent was expecting me to swap out and combo play with the superpower there that I had stored on my Malamar. So that's why they waited like they did to try and read that combo play. But I knew that my lose condition was them reading that combo play, where all I need to do was just keep over farming, force them to throw their energy, and then I could go into my Malamar, which we did and was able to work out for us. GG's. Next battle, Gastrodon Lead. So you've seen the Mud Slapper leads in the Kanto Marowak. Now this is in the Gastrodon. We land that Foul Play. You play out the zeros. They'll land an Earth Power. If you have a high enough ranked Malamar, you'll survive that Earth Power, and then you'll survive the following Mud Slap afterwards to make it to yet another move to win the zeros against Gastrodon, which is extremely nice. And there, I tried to bank a superpower and then pivot, but it appears as though I'm 1 Psywave off a superpower, so that's something to keep in mind for the end game, where I then pivot into my A/. And I know that since I am running the regular A/ and not the Shadow, I can comfortably survive 2 Dark Pulses there, where we land 1 Ice Punch, 2 Ice Punches, and we would get a nice farm down, but my opponent pivots out to prevent that. And here, being 1 Psywave off the move, we come in, since Mud Slap's a 3-turn move, we're able to get Superpower off. That does take out the Gastrodon. We now instantly pivot into our Shadow Walrein, and they have a Shadow Drifblim. And when I saw the Shadow Drifblim, I'm like, oh, perfect, this match is over. But now I'm like, you know, I'm not sure. Those Astonishes are keeping pace with the super effective Powder Snows, and that's was pretty surprising for me to see. But they throw a move instead of committing to fast moves, and that makes this a lot easier for me, because I can then throw moves myself, knowing I'll get to 3 Icicle Spears before they fully farm me down, which I do. And down goes that Shadow Drifblim. And then my opponent concedes once the Mandibuzz comes in, because they have no way to get rid of the Walrein. GG's. Next battle, Malamar into Gastrodon. So we're running it back, see if my opponent plays it differently this time, see if they stay in the lead or they swap out again to keep it the same. So we go for that foul play. After 14 Psywaves, make sure it's good timing. Gastrodon throws a move here, which is most likely that Earth Power. If it's a Body Slam bait, even better for you. But it is that Earth Power. You'll still see we survive that Mud Slap to get to another Superpower here, which does get a shield from them. That's perfectly fine, because now I can bring in my Walrein and just farm them all the way down. This is only a Body Slam. I don't need to shield this. If it was an Earth Power, I would give up a shield to respect it and preserve HP. But it's only a Body Slam, of which on top of that, we get a fantastic Powder Snow down. In comes a Dunsparce. Yeah, Dunsparce. So 1 Powder Snow and then the move, and then 4 Powder Snows and then the move again. Second Icicle Spear does land, brings them deep into the red. And my opponent looks like they're just going for the full roll it down. They're going to regret that, because I make a 3rd Icicle Spear, which forces a shield. I pivot in my A-Slash trying to snipe and preserve my Walrein for later, but unfortunately 2 Powder Snows isn't enough to take them out. So my opponent does get both of my shields back from me, but they have a Mandibuzz in the back. And as we saw, A-Slash does win the zeros against Mandibuzz, since we can survive 2 Dark Pulses. So this match is now over. We land that first Ice Punch, they land that first Dark Pulse. And it's honestly pretty surprising to see how close this matchup is in the zeros for A-Slash versus the Mandibuzz, just because of how bulky it is. Like, they can tank 2 super effective moves just fine, but what they can't do is outpace us here. So we just make sure they don't catch, take them out with the 3rd Ice Punch, and then from here we just fast move down the Gastrodon. That's alive. Sorry, the Dunsparce, that's alive. As we take that one. GG's. Getting to the final battle, we lead Malamar into Azumarill. This is an absolutely atrocious lead, so we are going to pivot into our Walrein right away, see what they want to do. If they stay in, you're going to throw your Earthquake after 11 Powder Snows, which, due to the 1 turn it takes to swap, will now be on good timing. But my opponent throws first, so they make it easy for us. We would go 1 more and then the move, but they swap into a Dugong, so another 3-turn fast move user, going to be the same thing, 1 and then the move. And now we outpace to a 2nd Earthquake, which is fantastic, because we get their first shield and then land a 2nd shield before they're potentially going to Icy Wind debuff us. But it's a Dugong. Icy Wind's double resisted, so they're most likely going to be going for that Draw Run. Either way, we want to save our Walrein. We save our Walrein for later, since they brought the switch timer back, knowing that, hey, they're going to be able to maintain switch of the Dugong onto the Shadow Walrein, and therefore they'll be able to put that Azu onto the Malamar anyways. So instead of me just letting my Walrein go down and then keeping my Malamar on having a poor matchup, I preserve my Walrein for later, and then I bring in my Malamar, which they bring in their Azu, but that's okay, because like I said, they're going to have their Azu on the Malamar anyways. So I let the Malamar go, bring in my A-Slash, knowing that they're on Play Rough, Ice Beam. So any charge move they throw will be resisted, as opposed to bringing my Walrein in here and having to shield that Play Rough or tank it and then lose my whole Walrein, which defeats the purpose of me saving it in the first place. So we take out their Azu, back in comes their Dugong. We're able to land a drill run onto the Dugong. They survive on 1 HP, which is quite unfortunate, but they have their own Shadow A-Slash in the back, and up this amount of energy, we're in a good spot here. So I can land that drill run, and now I can either let this go and just rely on Walrein to win the game, or I can shield it, and same thing, rely on my A-Slash to win the game. But since I landed that first drill run, I can go for this Ice Punch here, get their final shield, force them to waste their energy to take me out. I don't want to pivot out there just for a fear of them being able to overfarm. I want them to throw right away so they don't have to worry about it. And then I could get to an Icicle Spear and then just wait the turn, see their move come through and take out their A-Slash. But they make it easy for me. They lost track of the Walrein, bringing their Dugong at the wrong time. Down it goes. And we're able to reach the move to take out the A-Slash. GG's. With how the current Great League meta is looking with all the ground, flying, and grass types around, I feel like this is a fairly balanced team to help take that on. However, I do understand that there's a small portion of the meta that's starting to see a rise in fighters, so if you're part of that, then this team will see some trouble. But other than that, and for the most part, it's a very strong team to run, and that's just something to look out for. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.